He's Egyptian. He's a cat. He's a king. How's it going, YouTube? How's it going, Dueling Book? It is Vengeful Shadows here, and we're going to do a real quick video about a card that's been seeing an increase in popularity, price, and it will be seeing an increase in tech in the future, and that card is Neko Mane King. Now, not only is this a video just kind of bringing some light to the card, but we're going to be talking about why this card is seeing an increase in play in the OCG, and why we'll probably be seeing that bleed through into the TCG when we get some cards released over here. Now, the last time this card was actually played in the meta has probably been like literally about 10 years or something crazy like that. Like, it was a while back. This card saw a lot of play, and back then the same reasoning for now, and that is because of Darkworlds. Now, as we know, the most broken card in Darkworlds is Darkworld Grimoire. No, I'm just kidding. It's literally all about the discards for Darkworlds, and that is why Neko Mane King is going to be the best counter to the deck, and not only to the deck, but the deck itself is playing it as well. And that's because Neko Mane King, level 1 beast, Earth 0/0, okay? During your opponent's turn, when this card in your possession is sent to your graveyard by an opponent's card effect, it becomes the end phase of this turn. Now, fun fact, that includes if it gets discarded from your hand. Obviously, that is why we're here today, because that is all the Darkworlds do, okay? Now, not only is it a card that, like, if your opponent is going first with Darkworlds and you've side decked against it, I definitely recommend this as a side deck card. Your opponent's going first, New Age Darkworlds just explode, okay? They summon so many monsters in their turn, it's kind of actually insane. And then unless you have the correct outs, your hand is going to be kind of getting messed with as well, okay? Because not only do they run card destruction or Dark World dealings, they actually run drag down into the grave, so they actually get to look at your hand and select what cards they want to pick out of it, okay? And as we know, with the pointer going to 1, that's pretty broken. All right. Now, why Neko is such a great card is because they main deck 3 Dark World dealings as well as a card destruction. Okay. Now, card destruction, it is at 1, Dark World dealings is at 3, so you can be like, oh, well, what's the chances of them opening it? Well, the chance of them playing it turn 1 is really good, because not only can they open it in their first turn, but they can draw it off of gates, they can draw it off of brow, which a lot of times they can go through multiple of these in one turn, or they can even add it with the snow to the hand, or one of the cards that will draw it to the hand, okay? So Dark Worlds have so many ways of being able to pick cards out of the opponent's hand that Neko is just such an easy go-to for this, okay? And then not only is it doesn't just negate an opponent's card, okay, or something that just stops one card or anything. It is when your opponent gets it out of your hand or sends it to the graveyard, okay, they end their turn. And we know in new Yu-Gi-Oh! That is insane. A lot of decks just stopping one play isn't enough anymore. Shutting down an entire turn, especially if it's off the first spell card they play, that is nutty, okay? So, for me at least, Neko Mane King is the best side deck card for Darkworlds right now. And like I said, it's even being played in some Dark World variants, and I think, like, dare I say, don't quote me on this, but I think some are actually main decking it, and we'll get into that, okay? So some of the other options you have to side against Dark Worlds, we had some slim pickings back in the day, like Gemini Imps, but that's not really something I would definitely tell you to play against them. Not only does it negate one, but you get to draw one. We won't worry about that. Other big hitters that people have sided against Darkworlds in the past, and you know, we'll probably be seeing a little bit in the future. We had Rainbow Overlord of the Dark World. Not only is it able to special summon it when it's discarded, okay, but if it's sent to the graveyard by an opponent's, like when it's sent by the opponent's way, it's summoned, as well as wiping the opponent's monsters or their spell traps in entirety, okay, which was obviously pretty cool back in the day when both Raigeki and Heartbeats were banned, and we had this guy come out, so it's kind of cool. So when he's sent and he's revived, because he's sent from the opponent's card effect, you get to wipe their monsters or all their spells and traps, okay? You can kind of see why this would be decent, but if this is the first time, like if they, you know, use the Dark Worlds off the rip and you discard this, there's not going to be much of a board to wipe, okay? So I wouldn't necessarily recommend him, but late game, him being discarded could obviously be really devastating. I think a really, really close second to the Neko Mane King is Super Polymerization, simply because, one, it cannot be negated, and two, the fusion for Darkworlds themselves require a Grapha, Dragonlord of Darkworld, which they play plenty of that and always have able to be brought out, as well as any Dark Monster, which they play plenty of those as well. So Super Poly could just be maintaining a very hard side deck spot right now. It's side decked right now, and in the future I think it'll be side decked, especially against the Darkworlds. But that being said, when they're playing cards like Drag Down into the Grave, they can actually selectively hit the Super Poly out of your hand, knowing that you're going to be playing it on your next turn. So again, that's why I am rooting for my man Neko Mane King, because they're not going to be discarding that Neko Mane King, okay? That's not what they're going to be doing. And then that still leaves them open for not being able to activate Darkworld Dealings or card destruction, because they know their turn's just going to end. So they're going to have to be starting with the Drag Down, okay? So players going to have to be playing around this thing a lot. It's going to be great. Another side deck option I would definitely recommend is if you're going into time against the Darkworld deck, Elephant Statue of Disaster is a decent card. When it's sent from your hand to your graveyard by opponent's card effect, you inflict 2,000 damage to your opponent. So it's going to definitely increase the speed of their turn, because if you inflict 2,000 in their turn going first, going into time, they're not going to have a lot. They're going to have to finish their turn, proceed through your turn, then go back to their turn into the battle phase to hit you to win that duel, okay? So Elephant Statue is a card I think we'd be seeing decently side decked. I mean, kind of going, into time against Darkworlds. Ironically enough, it's also getting an OTS 20 reprint with Neko Mane King. Now, not only is it super good against Darkworlds themselves are playing it, because when they bring out the fusion Grapha Dragon Overlord of Darkworld, it has a very specific ability that when your opponent activates a normal spell or trap card or monster effect, as a quick effect, you can make that effect become your opponent discards one card. Okay, they had a trap card back in the day that basically would turn spells into that effect. So it's really cool to see them use the fusion to become that trap, because it is a very good card. And now the best part is your opponent discards one card, can make it where you discard, like if you're being a Darkworld player and you summon Grapha Dragon Overlord to the board and they activate anything that you can negate, you negate it, and then you pitch Neko Mane King from your hand, ending your opponent's turn. It's beautiful. That's beautiful. So not only is it a counter to Darkworlds, it's almost like a staple in Darkworlds at this point, okay? You just get to end the opponent's turn. And that's nuts. So overall, guys, that is definitely why we've been seeing a huge increase in the price and kind of tech ability of Neko Mane King. Again, the card itself, like I said, used to be pretty cheap. Now it's a little bit up there. If we look, they've all been kind of going up in price. They've all started about dollars or lesses, and now they're like $5, $6, $7 a piece. Dark Revelation 1, we got Magician 4's first edition, like I said, $5, $6, $7 a piece, all starting under $1. And then we even got the Legendary collections, all starting about $1 or $2, and now they're, look at that, they're like $7 a piece. Steal for $5? Not really, but you know what it is. Those cards have gone up. So if you have some, I mean, I definitely potentially think about, like, that's a pretty high price for a card that was just $1, because there was a buyout. Okay, so I'm not saying go out and buy the card. If anything, debate if you want to keep that set or not, mainly because in the latest OTS pack, the 20 coming out, it is going to be getting a super reprint. They announced it. So, if you don't have your playset yet, I would definitely, just kind of stick it out, wait for the supers to come out. You'll definitely get a playset of the supers, okay? Like, everyone's going to have 3 of that after it comes out, okay? So I wouldn't rush out and just be spending all the money on it. But that being said, I think we are for sure going to be seeing Neko Mane King as a side deck option once the Darkworld deck does come out to the TCG. I think some close seconds will be a Super Polymerization or going into time with Elephant Statue of Disaster, but overall I think Neko Mane King takes the cake. Again, guys, if you enjoy any of this content, do consider dropping that sub below. We're trying to get the numbers up, and we actually have been doing a lot of the increase in that, so I do appreciate all the help with that. You guys really are the real ones. We also have a Twitter, we have a Twitch, as well as, you're watching right here at YouTube, so I do super appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, Definitely stay safe out there, and suck it, nerds.